For the budget in future years, especially if there's a downturn in emergencies where, legislatures have to rely on the surplus for things like that. Any concerns about what this may mean if that happens down the road?
No, Senator Ingram is really not making a good argument there. Whenever you look at the risk for the future, first of all, 25% is what is allocated of the surplus money for highways. If you have a downturn in the economy, then we still will have a surplus, but because we budget conservatively, but it'll be less in amount, but it'll still just be 25%. You have zero, there's not anything at risk because 25% of zero is zero. But historically, it's been over the last 10 years, $48 million per year. So it's a very conservative and prudent way to fund the highways. The other concern people express is that there's not enough money for legislative GIF. I would say that's a good thing. That's the surplus has been allocated toward general improvement funds across this state, and keeping the downward pressure on that, I think allows us to put more money toward the highways, put more money toward tax reductions, put more money toward the other needs of the state.
You guys have tackled some big issues in the special sessions, whether Medicaid, now highway. I know another big issue that you talked a lot about is parole and prison reform. I was wondering if you could maybe address what it seems like the next big project on the list of things that you've been talking about.
That is on the list, and we're waiting right now for some studies to be completed in terms of our prison population and the pressures on that prison population and whether our sentencing policies in Arkansas are on target or not. So we'll get that information, we'll make some judgments based upon that. But also the good news, as you'll remember last year during the general session in April, we had a hike of, I believe it was over 4,000 on the backlog. Those in the county jail waiting to go to the prisons. That's been reduced to, I believe, 1,200. It's gotten down actually to about under 1,000. And so we've made tremendous progress on the backlog, even during this interim period. That's because of additional prison space that we brought online, as well as some adjustments that have been made. And so there's more work to be done there, but we have made significant progress, and our reentry program and alternative sentencing has made a difference as well. So we want to continue to monitor those as they continue to be put into place.
And just one follow-up on that, you've heard, I'm sure, Senator Cotton's claim that not enough people are being incarcerated, and I wanted you to respond to that.
Well, you're probably speaking at the federal level because I know there's an effort to reform the federal sentencing laws. So I'll leave the federal judgment to his debate in terms of state sentencing practices. I believe we actually have it pretty close to right in that we are sentencing to prison those that are violent, those that are repeat offenders, habitual offenders, those that pose a risk to society. But we still want to continue to look at those. I know that there's multiple drug offenders that will sometimes go to prison. So you look at the policy to make sure it's right, but I think we get it pretty well and right trying to incarcerate those that are a danger to society. We'll continue to look at it.
Governor, real quick, talking the efficiency bill that I went through today, obviously there's some changes to the nature of the Historic Commission, but also the Governor's Mansion Commission. I was just wondering, since taking over the mansion last January, if you had encountered any logistical or personality conflicts with members of the current commission, then as a quick follow-up, so I don't come back, do you have any plans of using your authority to appoint someone to that commission anytime soon?
Well, first, in terms of the efficiency bill, there's a lot of good things in that efficiency bill, from eliminating 6 or 7 task forces, boards, and commissions. As Senator Hester pointed out, he was very concerned about our foster care system, and it eliminated some of the burdens on our caseworkers. So there's a number of good things in the efficiency bill. In terms of the Mansion Commission, I think they bring a lot of value. It's important to have a citizen review of the condition of the mansion, and that's the original statutory purpose of the Mansion Commission, is to have citizens look at the mansion as to what needs are there, what the condition of it, report to the legislature. That's the most important thing that the Mansion Commission can do. In terms of the future, I'll have to look at what action I'm supposed to take, if any, as a result of the legislation, and determine whether any additional steps need to be taken.
I mean, you can remove somebody from the commission under the law.
Under the new law.
Right. So do you have plans to remove anybody?
I've not made any plans to remove anybody at this point. You know, that might change. We might look at it, but I have not thought through what I want to do with the Mansion Commission and under the new authority that it might exist.
So let's walk a little bit. This is a short-term fix for the highways, then we got intermediate and long-term. What's going to be your role going forward? Are you just washing your hands of it?
Well, it's interesting, the debate on the highway plan that was put forth. I understand that there are some, including Senator Ingram, that criticize it because it was a short-term plan. But in fact, the only other plan that was on the table was a one-year plan. The plan that I presented is a 5-year plan. And so this is a 5-year plan that carries us through the length of the federal highway bill and the need that we have for matching funds. So I would certainly consider this an intermediate plan that we have, but it also has structural changes that it has sunsets in 5 years, but you've got beyond the surplus additional revenue streams that have never existed for our highway department. So I think time will tell how well this works and what additional changes need to be made down the road. I do believe that there's a case that can be made for a long-term highway plan. These commissioners make that every day too. And so there are greater needs, and I know the overlay program for our highways in Arkansas is a significant need. My judgment is that this ought to be brought before the voters in 2018. If they want to have a more aggressive long-term plan for the highways. Others believe it ought to be brought up in the session in January. I actually believe that, one, we've got a pretty good plan for the next 5 years here. I think any other plan that involves a tax increase or a significant tax shift should be brought before the voters. I'll look at what other ideas are there in the January session. But I don't think the mood for simply a tax increase will be any better in January versus now.
So somebody's going to ask this. So any chance you're in any television advertisements for a tax increase in 2018?
You say, I mean, any television advertising?
Yeah, because sometimes good governors get on, the pro tem.
We'll have to wait and see. It all depends on what it is. I wouldn't hesitate to advocate for a highway program that I believed in. I've advocated for this highway program, but we also, looked at a longer-term, more robust program that solves the problem of declining highway revenues, more efficient cars. We've got to come to a consensus on that, and we'll see what role I play.
Governor, there are still some legislators who have concerns about one person being over the History Commission. Is there anything you could say that would allay that?
Well, yeah, there's not one person over the History Commission. Certainly you have, and I say it's not more than one person, is because that person is reportable to me, and I'm accountable to all the voters of Arkansas. And so you have a direct line to an elected official here. And I think that is a high level of accountability. No one loves history and the history of Arkansas more than me. maybe there's one or two. But I do love the history and I value it, and everyone should rest confident that we're going to utilize this change to strengthen the role of the History Department, our History Commission, and the role of Arkansas history and access to the archives to the average citizen. That's the objective of it.
Is there any particular place you're going to move it?
I don't know that there ever has been a particular discussion on that's the answer. We do not know any place that would be moved. And that's the kind of thing that you would want to work with a large group of people to make sure that there's a consensus on it. It works well for public access. And, you know, right now, I've been there. I don't think it is a place that has good parking. I don't think it's a place that very many people would know that it exists, that's where you can go. I think it's fairly well restricted right now to those that are doing deep dive history and studies of history in Arkansas. I think we need to broaden it to, you know, the average Arkansan that has that access and awareness of it. That would be my goal. It'll take a while to get there, but that would be my objective. Thank you all.
I understand that you're son of the rest of Alabama, but we can leave comment on that this time.
Well, those are the days that it's tough to be a parent and it's tough to be a son. And I think every parent and every son would identify and understand that problem. My son's an adult and he will have to address this just like he has had to address other things in the past. Thank you very much. Y'all abandoned me.
Well, we didn't want to hog the limelight.
Well, you know, it's just a 3-day session. Well, you're ready to look forward to getting a lot of work done between now and January. Pick some berries. I don't believe it. What do you got planned? Tree trimming work. Yeah, you do have work to do. All right. All right, you